para ver nessa apresentação, porque justamente é uma contribuição que esse intelectual aí vem dar para o departamento de música também aqui da URGS, né, e também vim para a pós-graduação, para a graduação, e para os alunos depois na internet. Agradecer também, né, ao Originários, nosso coordenador de PPG. Aqui não tá, ela vai estar ajudando a gente também. Agradecer mais uma vez também os convidados, as pessoas que são aqui da EF, amigos, já o Paulinho também, o Matheus, né, pessoas que eu já conheço, o Mauro, né, a Marguerite também, e outras pessoas aí que a gente não conhece. A gente fez parte já desse programa, fizemos a nossa formação aqui também, e hoje estamos com o presidente da Associação Brasileira de Etnomusicologia, o qual, né, a associação anterior foi a Marília. Então, acho que ele foi no banheiro, já deve, né, já deve estar vindo. Então, a ideia é que ele faça primeiro uma exposição, depois ele fica aberto para pergunta. Então, foi essa combinação que a gente fez. Como eu falei, em torno de uns 50 minutos, mais ou menos, foi que ele comentou. Depois pode fazer perguntas para ele, né, que aí a Michelle ajuda também. E quem quiser fazer direto, pode fazer direto para ele também. Tá bom? Então, só vamos aguardar ele no banheiro e já começamos. Contestar, você tem microfone aí, né? Tá claro. Uhum. Mas acho que pode dar. Ele tá.
Eu acho que ele vai apresentar um. Tem aqui o cabo.
Tem o cabo.
Ele comentou.
Yeah. You already answered. Okay, then let's go ahead. Good afternoon.
Boa tarde.
They don't sound like they're excited for me. So let me say that again.
Ele disse que é um boa tarde mais fervoroso.
Thank you. First of all, let me thank President Professor Pedro Acosta, right?
Ele gostaria de agradecer ao presidente Pedro Acosta
for inviting me here and with a sense of humility and honor to be here.
Ele está muito honrado, né? E humildemente ele vem também participar, né, do evento para falar sobre o trabalho. Está muito honrado de ter sido convidado.
Greetings to my fellow professors, colleagues.
Todos os membros, professores.
And I don't know if there are students here, but greetings to students too.
Ele está agradecendo também aos estudantes, ele não sabe quantos são, mas ele também agradece a presença dos estudantes.
Because I just came back from Ghana, let me bring greetings from Ghana today.
Sim, ele chegou, né, de Gana, também veio direto para o Brasil, estava em Gana e veio direto para o Brasil. Então, ele também traz, né, como chama, as felicitações, os cumprimentos de Gana.
And also because I'm the president of the Ghana State Association, African State Association.
Ele também é o presidente.
Bring greetings.
Ele também é o presidente da Associação de Estudos Africanos. Ele também traz as felicitações.
And also because I'm a chairman of the SCM, Society for Etnomusicologia Council.
Conselho de Associação.
I'm the chairman.
Conselho.
Yeah, the Council for Society for Etnomusicologia.
Yeah.
So I bring the greetings also from the SCM.
Também traz as felicitações também da Associação de Etnomusicologia, do Conselho de Etnomusicologia, do qual ele é.
And finally, from my University, Tufts University in Boston, Massachusetts.
E também da Universidade de Tufts, de Massachusetts.
They had me.
Cumprimentos, Tufts. It's hard, this word is hard. Também traz os cumprimentos da Universidade de Massachusetts.
So thank you very much. That was a long greeting, right? That was a long greeting.
Cumprimento longo.
Thank you. According to Professor Acosta, wanted to talk about the Black intellectual legacy of African Etnomusicology.
O professor então fez a Acosta
Em Gana.
pediu, né, para que ele falasse do legado do Black Intellectual, o legado negro, né? Ai, gente, não consigo traduzir, desculpa. Da Black Intellectual Legacy na África, né? O legado intelectual negro na África. Saiu de Etnomusicologia e a Musicologia em Gana.
But
Esse é o tema.
what I'll do, because of I'm far away in Brazil, and
Como ele está bem longe do Brasil, né?
so yeah, I will give you a little bit, and not only from Ghana, but from a few places in Africa. So
Ele
that,
vai falar de outros países na África.
and then I will settle in Ghana.
E aí ele termina em Gana. Aí ele vai falar de alguns lugares da África para vocês, e aí ele encerra em Gana falando.
Thank you, and I wish you that this conference will continue, every year, and it will be bigger.
Ele gostaria, quer, né, que esse evento cresça ainda mais, que possa ter cada vez maior.
So this is just a map. I just want to re-emphasize again where I come from, right? So it's easy for
É só um mapa para ele enfatizar de onde ele veio.
Africa is the center of the world. It's so big, right?
A África é o centro do mundo, então ela é muito grande.
I come from this tiny, small place here.
Ele vem desse lugar bem pequenininho.
West African. And this the zoom up map of Ghana. That is West Africa. And most Afro-Brazilians came from the West African.
A maior parte dos brasileiros vieram dessa região.
And also from Angola.
Africanos, né, vieram para o Brasil, têm descendência nessa região.
But since we are going to talk about, since we are going to talk about music, I would like to start with you.
Eu gostaria, né? Agora vamos falar sobre música, você começar com uma música.
It's a little bit cool. The type, the genre is Encontro. This is a genre. I just want to give you a quick context. This was a big celebration for the king, because in Ghana,
é uma grande
we have the
celebração
Asante king.
Para o rei. Então, que ele vai apresentar para vocês uma grande celebração do rei.
So,
para o rei.
And we will talk about it, but my first book also was based on this genre, type of music.
Ele disse que esse livro vai falar sobre o primeiro livro que ele escreveu também, que traz, né, essa né, agora, estudo, né, fez.
So this,
compõe no livro.
The performance was for the late king was 20 years on the throne, and then so they organized the performance for the king. So this song, think about, the history and the praises of everything, stuff like that, and also asking God blessing.
Ah, tá. Eles fizeram essa celebração para louvar o rei e também pelas bênçãos que Deus estava trazendo.
It is different from the real traditional performance where a lot of people, but this one because the government ministry organized for the king, so it's a little bit subdued, right? But still, they will see a little bit of, the performance itself, because it's not coming from the tradition, it's government. You know how in Africa we have government, traditional, kings, which is the government is European heritage, right? And then the traditional right. Then so we have government ministry of culture. They organize this for the king. It is all coming from the tradition. If it's coming from tradition, different, and I will show them some of it. But so they should take this for now.
Okay. Então esse vídeo é de uma tradição diferente. Tem um governo, né, que tem uma herança europeia, mas esse realmente é referente ao povo deles, né? Então as celebrações são diferentes.
Ué.
All right. So that was the one in the song. Now that we have, yeah. So now we can go ahead. Now that we set the table and people relax.
Agora nós podemos seguir, né? E relatar.
Maybe we can continue the talk, right? And I wouldn't mind afterwards if people have questions. I will also have time.
Later. What, time for questions later?
Later, yeah, later.
Depois da apresentação.
So I want to start with from Ethiopia. One of the well-known names in ethnomusicology in Ethiopia is Dr. Ashna Kebede, composer, conductor, ethnomusicology, historical musicologist, educator, novelist, poet. From Ethiopia. From Ethiopia, the country is Ethiopia. From Cameroon. From Cameroon, another country, is Francis Bede. Francis Bede. Ethnomusicologist, composer, guitarist, multi-instrumentalist, singer, poet. You realize that these people don't have just one area. It's a lot, even more than I have written here. Yeah, so it's not bad. We can't say, oh, yeah, it's not historical. Because there's a reason why they exposed. There's a reason. There's a book that Francis Bede wrote, for instance, says African music, the people's art. That was translated by So this is still Francis Bede from Cameroon. Come closer to Nigeria. And I know we have a lot of Yoruba culture from Yoruba all the way to Benin. I know we have, but Nigeria is big. Dr. Meki Emeka Nzewi from Nigeria. African musical arts and science theories, composer, music dramatist, creative writer, modern drama, literary, those yeah. Meki Nzewi from Nigeria. It's written, this is Meki Nzewi. All right. Yeah. All right. It's written some books, and I mean all of them. They wrote a lot and a lot. But sometimes I show just one in the interest of time. The lighting here is a little bit challenging, so we can't see.
Eu estudo contemporâneo da arte da música. Muito livro, né?
I think it's challenging. But this is making the way it's written all. Then we come to Ghana. So you see, I came from Ethiopia, Cameroon, Nigeria. Come to Ghana. Kofi Agawu. Highly polemic book. Representing African music. Post-colonial notes, queries, and positions. Representing African music.
Notas pós-coloniais.
Post-colonial notes, queries, and positions. It's difficult people don't find. But this one here is also it's amazing. But this is very, very good because he says
esse livro é maravilhoso. Imagination in music, right?
Yeah, the African imagination in music. There's a way that Africans are writing.
É o jeito, é a forma como os africanos escrevem.
And we are responding to colonial discourse in Africa, in African music. So we are trying to challenge the dominant tropes of Europe.
A dominação das tribos, né, que foram dominadas pela Europa, a forma como eles dialogam, né, com essa questão colonial também, de forma eles produzem a música de acordo, né, com a história de dominação dessas tribos.
Of Euro-American discourse, in African music. So they are trying to come out of that. That's why I say representing African music. There's a reason, represent. Who represents African music?
Uma razão. Quem representa?
Who represents Afro-Brazilian music?
Quem representa?
Who represents native, Brazilian music? Who represents European music? So there's something, that's why I say, highly polemic. So it looks like I'm now in Ghana. I show you a few, right? But I'm now in Ghana.
What is going on?
I'm now in Ghana. Dr. Ifremamu, I know most of you here because of the work of Pedro. So you all know of Nketia, right? Professor K. from Nketia, most. And in fact, all over the world, Asia, everywhere, Nketia, but few know this man.
Falou que muitos conhecem o Nketia, né? E poucos conhecem o Efraim.
It was Dr. Amu who inspired Nketia.
Ele disse que Efraim inspirou o certo, né?
But no, people don't know him. Because if you look at these flutes, before you look at the date of death, right?
A data, né? A data da morte.
He was born in colonialism, European colonialism. Right?
Sim, a europeia, né?
And he went to European school and everything.
Ele completou também os estudos, né, do europeu.
But when he applied the European education, formal education in
Formado, né,
music and everything, he decided to create alternative.
Ele decidiu criar alternativas
For even colonial Ghana, even he wanted, because Europeans were putting hymns on, they wanted to create African hymns.
Ah, tá. Ele queria criar, né, ritmos africanos, né? Tinha os ritmos britânicos.
Yeah,
right?
Everything.
Ele
So
colocou os ritmos africanos.
this flute, he went to the King Palace, studied the traditional flute, and then came up.
Where he went?
The king, the palace, our king, our traditional,
king.
the king,
Okay.
the king, the Asante king. They have original of this flute, but he went there, studied it, and then created his own flute for schools in Ghana, so that he can create something new all the time.
Então ele foi, desculpa essa parte eu fiquei meio confusa.
Okay.
He went to the king.
Yeah, palace. Yeah, the king. Because we have king in we have king all over Africa, right?
Yeah.
All Africa, we have king, right?
And he went to study from him.
Yeah, from the palace we have music. Music from the palace, right? There's somebody who plays this, but it is only restricted to the palace. But he wanted to create more this one for schools.
Ele queria criar novos sons para as escolas.
So you see him here, he's creating the new fruit. Right now, all the schools in Ghana, they use this fruit.
Agora todas as escolas usam esse.
It was in the early 30s, Professor Nketia, he taught Professor Nketia, who he was a teacher. He was Professor Nketia. And Nketia was inspired by his work.
Foi inspirado pelo trabalho.
But he said, he told Nketia not to copy his work.
Ele disse para Nketia não copiar o jeito dele.
But he should go to the traditional people, the people traditional, and learn from them, and then create his own work.
Ele deveria, beber da fonte, que realmente essa música.
So,
criar sua própria música, né?
So that was what started in Nketia. Nketia went to the people. His grandmother belonged to one of the groups that I play for you. One of the groups that his grandmother is also belonged to that group. One of the group, not this one, but so Nketia went to the grandmother and learned from the grandmother and the songs and everything.
So repeat the part that Nketia goes to.
Yeah, because he said Nketia shouldn't just copy his music.
Ele não poderia só copiar a música
because he went to the people and learned from the tradition, and then use what he learned to create new choral music, new music, right? New. So Nketia shouldn't copy his new music, but rather he wants Nketia to go to the villages.
Ir até o vilarejo e aprender diretamente dele.
Yeah, and then also learn, and then what he can learn, and then use that to create his own music.
Aprender tudo, né, daquele vilarejo tradicional, e aí criar o sua própria música.
Yeah, so that's what started Nketia off that journey. That scholarship. So he did so many things.
Ele fez muitas coisas.
Yeah, choral, present-day choral music, everything, but everything he did, he learned it from the tradition and used it as a model.
Então ele deixou a música tradicional e fez uma música mais moderna.
And Nketia also followed that pattern of always learning from the tradition and creating something modern out of tradition.
Você passou pouquinho da música tradicional para fazer algo mais moderno.
So that was him. We talk about. So you see, when Nketia went to him and all that, right? So he did a lot, and he's well known. But because Nketia wrote a lot of books, but he was more engaged in composition, and the compositions was for Ghana. Everything he did was for schools, Ghana schools.
Nketia escreveu mais livros. He wrote more books.
More books,
yeah. Ele estava mais envolvido em compor.
Yeah. So Then we come to get there then, right? Yeah. So then I come to get there. See, so then in Ketia, what he did in the 1940s, we didn't have ethnomusicology as a discipline. We didn't have ethnomusicology was founded in US in 1955.
Foi fundada nos US,
yeah.
Em 1955. Em 1955.
In the 1930s, Iketia was already doing research, what we may call ethnomusicology. And that's why we say he's the father of African musicology. Because what he did preceded, they had comparative musicology in Europe at the time. Comparative musicology. And it was part of their colonial enterprise. And Americans didn't like that comparative musicology. So they wanted to create their own musicology, not musicology. So what Americans created was based on anthropology. But European was comparative musicology in Europe, in Germany, and all that. I don't want to go into all that. With psychoanalysis and all that, and measurement and comparison. And what the Europeans were doing, they'll compare the music they recorded from their territories. You know, not only Africa, India, everywhere they'll go, they'll correct, and then they'll bring it back to Europe and say, oh. And then they do comparative, because they will compare this music from this versus European music and say, oh, this is primitive, but this is high class, right?
High level, né?
Comparative musicology. Low class, high class. No? So Americans wanted to get something different, and they introduced anthropology. Using methods of cultural anthropology. So, okay, so you get here to scholar, composer, teacher, institutional builder, money, it goes on and on, right? So this morning, in the presentation this morning, they were talking about how they will bring the traditional musicians, the masters, here in Brazil to the university, right? This morning. And I told Professor Costa that Iketia did that in the 1960s.
Só contextualizar, pessoal, relativo ao projeto Encontro de Saberes, né? Nós estávamos comentando que esse projeto sendo um projeto iniciado no Brasil, né? Que o professor José Jorge Carvalho, no Fórum de Federal de Brasília. Então, esse modelo, essa ideia de trazer os mestres de saberes para fazer parte da disciplina de música dentro das universidades, ele estava fazendo isso na década de 60. E isso é importante nós resgatarmos para entender esse legado também, que não é só no Brasil, mas na África também já tem essa experiência.
Yeah, because Americans say, yes, we don't like comparative musicology. Introduce anthropology into music and music, but they will go to the traditional people and using the same colonial European discourse, will call the people who created their thing, who are experts. They call them informants, right? They don't call them masters. They don't call them experts.
they are informers. That is anthropology, anthropological method. So, but they go and they learn from them. They study, they write books, and then they get big posts.
Eles ganham, né, a visibilidade.
From the informant. Okay? Informant. We are not literate. They don't know what they are doing. But me, I'll go, they teach me, I come, I'm here, I'm big.
Mas eu vou, né, bebo da fonte e eu sou.
Then I get big pay from the university, but these people, no. So you see that there's hegemony imbalance. And in terms of national cake, there's no equity. So in Ketia, we set up music school at the University of Ghana. He argued with the authorities, and he brought this to his, he told them they are the master. Their knowledge is either equal or past PhD. Because they are masters, they created the thing. And those who didn't create it, we go and we get PhD. What about the person who created it and has been passing it on for generation, over 2,000 years? They create. So how come they can't be employed at the university as professors and be paid from the national cake? Huh? Why can't Tonketia started doing that? And it's not only in Ghana. When he did that, all the way to East Africa, all the schools, the music schools, post-colonial music schools, they said, because Nketia went there and so all over Africa, they did that too. Yeah. In the 1970s, Nketia brought the experts to UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles. Nketia brought some of them there to set up a program in African music studies. He brought them to Wesleyan University, Wesleyan. So Nketia started that also in the United States, where all these people were employed. Because he's from Ghana, he brought them from Ghana, and they were paid. UCLA, Wesleyan University, and other schools in America started doing the same. So the trend is there, and I'm happy. We want to do it here in Brazil. It's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. So thank you, Brazil. It's the right thing to do. Okay, so Nketia wrote this book. It became the Bible of African musicology. For over 2 decades, this was a book. It's been translated to several languages around the world. But what people don't know, once again, what people don't know, I'm sorry, is that this is 1949. This book, the lights here is not helping, but we'll take that. This book, he published in 1949 in his own language, P language. So, oh yeah, oh no, it's right here. Yeah. See, this one, this is in English. So it's for all over the world, right? 1974. $1939. No one knows about this book. Right? But this book, if you watch it, he wrote in his own language. Everything is in his language. And Nketia is amazing. The fact that he can write a whole book in his own language is also speaking to colonial based language, do we have to write only in English? Right? To be accepted? He started analyzing, he wrote an introduction to the book and analyzed. These are the chapters. He will introduce the music and then analyze and introduce. That was 1949. That is why we say he is the father of African musicology. Yeah. So I'm going to pause here and I'm going to show you a little clip of Nketia. Somebody interviewed him in the documentary. So you will see him, some of the things that he okay. Well,
good to see you again. I've been wondering what you've done. Professor Kwasi is another old friend. I'm interested in Ghana languages and literature, and I've been collecting material, trying to work out something that can use in school. What kind of material do you collect in the villages? What do you actually do when you go into a village? You see, there's a lot of poetry in song. And in order to get this poetry, we have to do recordings of several types of traditional songs. Radio songs, songs of warrior organizations, songs of hunters, songs of cow groups, songs of recreational bands, and so forth. And when we've done a number of these recordings, we bring them back to our base and do the transcription.
All right. So you see that he collected a lot. He collected a lot, and when he passed away, his audio materials and everything is now a library at the University of Ghana. It's called the Ghana Audiovisual Archive. Just vast collection of all over. One of the things we have started a conversation that later on, I'm sure next time when I come here, I want to see what is the Afro-Brazilian musicology. What is it going to be like, right? Are there lessons that we can learn from other places and make it even better? Right. I've said one thing in Ketia and the goal for doing this is not only to publish and we put in the library. They wanted to create we have a new nation state, Ghana, right? A new nation state. There should be an identity for the nation. Right? So this work that they do from the tradition and then they transform it into a modern way, right? So this was in 1963 at the University of Ghana. These are the people that he brought from the tradition. That he was paying, right? The University of Ghana was doing convocation. They were going to install the first African chancellor. Instead of using European trumpets to play fanfare, right? It changed. He brought these people to play the processional music instead of traditional listening. What he learned from the tradition is now transformed so there's always benefit, practical benefit from research to modern society. Right? So if we do research, if we go to the tradition and we research and we write and we don't transform that research into modern society, because things are changing. Right? But the traditional people, they reflected and thought about, they find solutions in their living. Now we live in the traditional modern, we also have to find solutions. But the solution we learn from tradition and transform tradition so we can live modern life, right? If there's no connection, right? Continuity. From tradition to modern. Then we have problems, right? We have socio-political problems. Because we throw tradition away. So in the future, I want to see Afro-Brazilian Etnomusicology doing research and bringing everything. Yes, archive your research, but also learn from the research to create modern. Right. All right. So when we see the that's fund in Katia is created at the University of Ghana instead of European legacy of trumpet fanfare. In Katia put it down, and then he did this. Then this is still 1960. Oh, sorry, here. Okay. This is still 1962 in the auditorium. After the procession, Iketia used this metal gong, a very big one, in the tradition before radio, before TV, before internet and all those things. This is the person, town crier. Whenever there's a message from the palace, from the king palace, it's either on the drum, we drum the message from Porto Alegre to Sao Paulo, okay? Or the town crier will go around the town and beat that to make announcement. Right, so before we go also, that is what they do. So Nketia brought that to the university, and he himself, he played it to make announcement. So he's bringing tradition to modern. And he published this book when he was about 95. This book, I think he was about 95 years when he published this book. 95 years. What is
he wrote this book?
He published when he was. No, when he was 95.
Sorry. Ele tinha 95 anos quando ele escreveu o livro.
Not long. He published this book. Not long. He died.
Ele faleceu, né?
But if you watch carefully throughout his life, and then just at the twilight, just at the end of his life, he published Reinstating Traditional Music in Contemporary Context. He's still thinking about that. He's still, because the title says Reinstating Traditional Music in Contemporary Context. Right? So at 95 years old, 97, he's still thinking about the relevance of tradition in modern life. The relevance. And so he was proud of it. This is a TV station interviewing him. He was very, very old. So that brings you now to me. You don't think I will fly all the way from here and not talk about myself? Tell them that. No, I didn't mean to do that, but I think I should share a little bit of my experience. If they will allow me, right? Permission, yeah. Okay. The research that I've done among the Akan people of Ghana, my research.
Your research?
Yeah, among the Akan people of Ghana. Akan, the other people. Akan. Different types of music. All this different. There's more, several. So what I'll do is so this is my first book that I did. This first book is based on the type of music, the first video that they watched.
Esse livro é referente ao primeiro vídeo que ele escreveu.
So this was the woman who was leading the song.
Essa foi a woman.
Like Kofi Agawu, like other people, I'm also reacting to European discourse on Africa, right? Because African music from native people is not written down. So when they say
o povo africano, eles compõem de uma forma diferente, não é escrito.
So when they say music composition, African is not counted. Okay?
Então eles acham que a música que é composta, né,
We don't,
não vale, não conta, né?
Americans say we don't have composition because what is your composition?
Os
Right?
europeus e americanos falam qual é a sua.
So when I wrote this book, I was also reacting against. So the main title of the book is this: The Creative Process in Encontro. The creative process in Encontro. But the publishers, they like this one. Female song tradition and a kind of Ghana. Big, right? But the main, because this was published in UK, in Britain. This was published in Britain. So this was my title, The Creative Process in Encontro, a female song tradition of the account of Ghana. The publishers tell me female song tradition, and they make the creative. The main goal of my book, creative. Right? But it's so a lot of people think this is book on feminism. No, this is book on oral music composition. There is composition, but it is not written down. I try to show them that even that composition is more difficult than the written composition. Because you have to do everything in your head, all the composition in your head. You can't erase if you make a mistake in that. So I have to show them. And I have a reason why I publish it in the UK. Because they were saying there's no composition. So I publish it there, and then they let them sell all over the world to show that there's composition in Africa. They use the word improvisation. It's nice and fancy, and if you're not careful, we are happy. Oh, we Africans, oh, improvise, we improvise. Okay. But in Euro-American thought, in their classical music, they are trying to tell you the music of Beethoven is written, so it's higher. Your music is not written, so yours is primitive. So improvisation, I don't like the word improvisation. I like the word recomposition. Recomposition. I don't like improvisation. This woman, the first video, when you saw, and then they came to perform, the music was already composed. They knew what they were going to sing. They knew the title of the song. They knew everything, the format, the structure, the complexity, the rhythm, the melodies, the harmonies. They knew everything. But it's not written. But the way African music, the way Afro-Brazilian music is, the way Afro, whatever, music is, in order to make the context, in order to make the music relevant to the context, in order to make when they come and they perform already composed song, but the song must have meaning in the context. Then they will recompose part of the song to reflect the context. So that is why our music tradition is called living tradition. That's why it's living tradition. It is always living. It's always living, but it's already composed. This woman, when they composed those songs, I wasn't there. That is why I put her on the cover of my book, to show that she is also a consummate composer. Some people say, oh, is it my mother? I wish I could put my mother there, but that's not my mother. When I was growing up, this woman composed several songs. But in African traditions, because of our type of life, our way of life, is communal life. Our way of life is communal. So you do something, you do it for the community. So African traditional art, African traditional carving, individuals carve it. They carve. But when they finish, they don't put their name on the carving. They just give it to the community. You see, that is why we don't have composers. They compose the music, they give it to the community. What is important for us is the performance. That is why the composer is the same as the poet. The poet is the same as the music composer. There's no poet composer. No, this one is a poet. The text one and the same. But we have composers, but they don't glorify themselves. Ours is communal living. You give to the community. Artistic creations, everything, visual art, dance creation, everything we create, you give to the community. You don't put your name there. But right now, in the modern way, you go for the university. If you create something at the university, an art at the university in Ghana, you put your name there because that's modern. But still in the tradition, carvers have no name. Okay, how we do it on time? So there's a lot. Okay, so I have the video here, but people are able to see it, so I'm not going to play it for you. These are some of the books that I've written. This one here, when you go to the Asante King, this is the Asante King. Yeah, right there. So I myself am Asante. Nketia is Asante. All Asante people are Akan people. Nketia is also Akan. That is our king. Right. And there's a lot of music, complex music from, 1,000 years ago. And several musical ensembles. So I've started documenting them. So first of all, I just came just the instrument, but also in the book going around with my friend there, it is also it's fine. It also includes regalia, because in Africa it is not only music. Music is part of a constellation of arts. We don't have music doesn't stand alone. Music is part of a complex organic production. So in all these African traditions, we don't have one word like European word, music. We don't have word like that in our language. Over 2,000 languages in Africa, there's no single word for music, because music doesn't exist by itself. So when I published that book, where is my friend? This one, you see, it's not only music instrument. Other regalia and all these things. You see, what is wearing here? There's a meaning. What is wearing here? The sword, this, everything is what is wearing. Everything is symbolic communication. It's part of the music. Music is also symbolic communication. Sound, music sound is a form of symbolic communication. So in the European idea, there's music. That is fine. I don't have any problem. That is their culture. But when you impose that music on Africa, everything is messed up. Everything is messed up. That is why it is good for the people representing African music. Remember that book? Representing European music, representing Chinese music, representing African music, representing Native American music. We have to allow representation from this, because when you call something music, and you come to my village, and you come and do research in music, and you impose all those European stuff on my music, it's misrepresentation. Misrepresentation and misinterpretation. This is serious. That's why right now we say we are being post-colonial. We need to take away colonial imposition.
Tirando, né, aquela imposição colonial.
Trying to tell, I come to Brazil, I stay here for 3 months, I'm going to tell you what it is that you do your music.
Por 3 vezes eu vou dizer o que faz com a tua música.
Good. That is why globally we don't have understanding. By this time in our civilization, there should be peace. There shouldn't be war. There should be peace. But they won't take their time for Africans to tell them what they are doing, but rather to tell Europeans to tell Africans what they're doing. So this book, ethnomusicologists will say, okay, when they see the sword, when they see all kinds of ethnomusicologists say, oh no, Kwasi, you are not ethnomusicologists because we didn't do music. I want to tell them from my African perspective, everything here is music. See? So there's a lot of issues. We know a lot of issues. So anyway, this one, this was just the items, but this one, when I did second volume, I documented a festival, a big festival.
Grande festival que aconteceu lá.
And then I added it to this. So the first part, you will see the items in motion, the items in time, in motion, the first part of this book. You see motion. And then the second part, yeah, in the second part, then you see the objects and everything sitting on the table, and then description. Yeah. I'm going to play a video for you to see. So recently, the Queen of England passed away. And they did the funeral and everything, which is amazing in my lifetime for me to see. Right? And then, but in 2017, the Queen Mother of Ashanti, the Queen Mother, the woman, we have king and we have queen. Yeah. She died. She was 111 years. And she died. And then and I went and I documented the whole thing. And I have a video documentary for it. Yeah. That I'm giving to the that's the video documentary. It's 2 minutes back to teach in the classroom. And I got this as a gift. So it's a gift. Yeah. So if you watch carefully, Queen Elizabeth's funeral, you know, like that. It's wonderful. I don't have any problem with it. It is European, it is British way of mourning. Right? But this is how we mourn. Because this is Africa, it can't be Europe, and Europe can't be Africa. Yeah, right, yeah. The diversity is beautiful. Diversity is beautiful. Yeah, right. So this is a little clip of.
Mas aqui vocês entenderam que a foto é de mineral, né? Da rainha.
You see that the umbrella, the big umbrella, you see that the umbrella is dancing?
Yeah.
You see that? The umbrella is dancing according to music, right? It's big umbrella. But my ethnomusicology friends in the US will tell me, no, I should separate it from the music sound. But these, don't you see?
Na América que isso não é música que
See, everything is mixed with music here. Everything is mixed.
Se mistura, né? Tudo é música.
For us, that's why we don't have one way.
Nós não temos uma maneira. Né?
We don't have one way. So you watch carefully and all those things. And the king is.
Observem cuidadosamente o rei.
The king is sitting here,
O rei está sentado
and dancing but holding a gun.
E dançando e segurando uma arma.
Holding a gun. I have the gun here. In the book, it's somewhere in the book. I have the gun somewhere there in the book. So when it is dancing to music with the gun, what does that mean? Do I leave out the gun that is not music? If it's not, the gun is not needed, that you won't bring it. Right. So you see.
are just extra. Yeah, thank you. It's a lot. When we talk of field research, you know, when I don't have control, right? I don't have control. The event is unfolding, and I have to capture as much as I can, and then later on write, or later on do the documentary. So the documentary is, you will see, is different because I offer commentary and all that. So anyway, so it's a lot. It's a lot. Anyway, we are almost finishing. The last one that you see is what intersection between lived experience, music, and social value. So, you know. When it's a picture that I can never forget because it was so prominent, you know, carrying all the drums behind the king and playing at the same time. It was prominent, so I wanted to capture that for the book. So I took the picture and put it at the back. But you know, drums in this book, analyze text, drum text, right? A lot of people talk of African rhythm. African rhythm. It's okay, the rhythm is there, but it's for me, every music in the world, there's rhythm. There's no music in the world that you can tell me that it's music, but it doesn't have a rhythm, right? So because the narrative, the discourse is coming from European, the emphasis is on African rhythm, which is abstract, scientific concept, right? It's abstract, right? It's abstract, right? So what I did, what I did without saying it, in this book, it is not about rhythm. I transcribed all the music you heard. It has text. There's drum language on drum. Those people who are playing text. It is not just sound, it's text. Flute. You saw the flute. When you hear that flute playing, it's not playing just melody for melody's sake. It's text. And all the texts are based on the language. So Europeans say, oh, we went to Africa, it is only rhythm, but they don't have melody. No, they didn't ask. They don't know. These people were not playing melodic music for them, so they can play elaborate. No. It's based on language, just as I'm speaking. You know, see how I'm speaking? I can't scale. I can't do that. I'm speaking. But several African languages, the language is tonal. There's pitch in our language and there's rhythm in our language, right? So our traditional experts, they knew this over 2,000 years ago, and designed instruments that can speak. Instruments must speak, not only the drum. Not only the drum. So there's talking drum, African talking drum, no. Every single instrument in Africa must be able to speak. Xylophone, marimba, they speak. Kora, string instrument, they must speak. They are all based on language. So in this book, what I did, stayed away from rhythm. What I did, like this music that you are playing, I transcribed the text of the music. So drum text, and then the African trumpets. What they were playing, several groups of them, I transcribed the text. They came through, of course, songs are based on text.
And then these are not songs per se. These are poetry. This poetry, in English, the poetry is a historical poetry. This apparent, this is another form of poetry. So it's not, they are not singing, it's just reciting poetry. Have you heard anybody talk about poetry in Africa? Poetry in Africa, no. Poetry doesn't exist in Africa. There's a lot of poetry in Africa. Poetry in Africa. Somalia, they have poetry, about 10,000 lines of poetry in Somalia. About 1,000 lines of poetry, all memorized. So this poetry is recited by executioners. Executioners. As people in the olden days, they will kill if somebody commits crime to kill the person. The executioners, they will kill that person. The poetry is recited by executioners. But you see, in the whole world, I've never seen executioners who recite poetry. Only in Africa. The whole world, I've traveled all over from Asia to Asia. I've never seen executioners. These people, they recite poetry, and they have several poetry. So I also put their poetry here. And by the way, these days they don't execute anymore. They don't do it anymore. It's Ghana government and military and soldiers, but they are there. They are still there. They still recite the poetry. So this book is everything. All my work is to show the other side of our own voices. What is? So hopefully, native Brazilian ethnomusicology, Afro-Brazilian ethnomusicology, yes. Using our example, we must hear your voices. We must hear your voices. I'm not saying that I still don't have friends in Europe and America who write about African. I still have them. I still have friends who write. But I also want to show that I can also represent myself. Representing African music, I can represent. I don't exclude anybody from writing. I have friends from all over the world. They are welcome. But when they come, they must respect the voices. Just as when I go to Europe, and I've been to several places in Europe, I go because I say this, if you're not careful, you might think I hate Europeans. I don't hate anybody in the world. I don't hate anybody in the world. They just did something wrong. Right? I don't hate it. Look, this also was published in the UK. 2 of my books are published in Britain. If I hate them, they won't publish my book, right? But they know what I'm saying is the truth. So I don't hate, I go all over the world. I don't hate anybody. I like diversity. We should respect that diversity and get excited about diversity. I'm not saying African music is better than any, that's European. African music is better than any music. No, that's typical European mentality. European classical music is better than any music. No, you don't do that. You don't do that. If you sit down and analyze a small song like this from any culture, you take your time and analyze, you will see that it's big like that. Even though it's a small, you remember this morning, the woman did the ceremony and did the song. You remember? With the rattle, she gave me this. She gave me this. You know, so if somebody will say, oh, this is a simple song.
Alguém vai pensar, é uma música simples.
Me, I won't say it's a simple song.
Eu não acho.
You just have to sit down like this and analyze that little song that she did.
E analisar aquela música que ela tocou.
Then you see. Analysis, not just melody.
Não analise só a melodia.
Not just the rhythm.
Não só o ritmo.
But the text, the words she sang also analyze the text. You see the poetic depth, the philosophy, that is in that whole song that she did. So for me, it doesn't have to be before it's big. So I'm going to end with music. Since I started with music, let me end with music. Because music can say a lot, right? But this is all this is from my field research. All this is from my field research. You recognize that person? Do you recognize this person here?
Vocês reconhecem aquela pessoa ali?
You don't recognize. See the audio, the digital audio recorder, right? But I don't want to go and do this.
Eu não quero.
So I'm also doing with them, but then because it's not nice for me to go and then you are recording. It's not good. It's not nice. It doesn't feel not natural, right? It doesn't. So that's why I do that. Thank you, and I'm sorry to make it too long for you. Do we have time for questions? Take them. It's overwhelming, right? The information is overwhelming, right? I'm sorry, I made it overwhelming. No,
would like to say the beginning when the women appear with the skirt. And she reminded when we are in the African religion here in Brazil, in circles. They have like a prayer, a grace, a purification. Many moments make her thinking about our religion here in Brazil. And what makes us apart is kilometers, but we are very connected.
oh yeah.
In soul.
Yeah.
She would like to sing for you.
Thank you.
Before to,
Thank you.
yeah. Summertime, and believing easy. Fish are jumping, and the cotton was high. Oh, your dad is rich, and your mind's good looking. So and hush, little baby, oh, don't you cry. Summertime, and the living easy.
you're jumping and the battle is high. Oh, you dare the streets and your mind is good looking with daddy and mommy dancing by.
Thank you. Legado. So I'm going to make a quick comment about the dance. If you watch carefully, you see that most African dances, the circle, when they dance in circles, it always goes from right to left. So that's why I said, if we limit it, music, sound, that sound, we will lose the whole lot. The religiosity, the spirituality. Why do they always dance? Even if you watch when the older man, when they were singing, the older man he came from here, he danced like this and went like that. See that? The dancer from the group went like this. So always. So why limit them in European conception? This is anti-clockwise, right? Does it present a problem for me? Yes. Because Europeans created the clock and the clock goes this way. So there's nothing wrong for me. But if I describe this dance and I say the dance is anti-clockwise, then you see what I mean. Then I'm losing the African conception, the African idea of sexuality. African idea of sexuality is like this. It's not like that. So maybe if I transcribe and I've done it. I've transcribed African song from left to right. Left to right. I've been thinking about it. I may be wrong. Because maybe the music is going this way. So these are some of the questions. We have to be critical. Right? So I've done it. This book, I write from left to right. But the African dance is going this way. So I'm thinking there's something wrong. I'm giving you this to think about it. Think about it. So because when I write a book, I'm writing the book into the European model, right? My ancestors, they didn't write that book. So I can see the downside of that book. But I'm trying to interpret. I'm trying to interpret what they are doing to the rest of the world. To the rest of the world. So I put this in the book and I'm writing it. Because most of our things are second. Most of African conception of music and everything is in circles. And guess what? The world is what? It's circle. You see? So the power of African music. Okay. Starts again. Cyclical.
So the music is also cyclical.
A música
I hear he played music in his car for me. I hear, you know, the Caliban music samba. I hear all that cyclical. You think about it. I want you to think about it. You know. Don't be scared. I'm not a scary person. Yeah, please.
Eu andei lendo a escritora Audre Lorde.
Obrigado.
He read the writer Audre Lorde,
Estadunidense, e
from United States.
ela escreve sobre a transgressão da poesia.
He writes about the transgression of poetry.
Aí eu notei que quando nós estávamos falando sobre a etnomusicologia na Etiópia,
when they were talking about the Etnomusicologia na Etiópia, when you were talking about Etnomusicologia in Ethiopia,
os autores eram também poetas.
The authors, they were also poets, right?
E dos outros países eu não percebi.
And from the other countries, they didn't
como
Camarões, like in Cameroon and Ghana.
E Nigéria. Então, eu pergunto como o que é como é essa dimensão da poesia na música de Gana ou
He wants to know the dimension of poetry in Africa. Qual é a dimensão em Ghana and other countries, the dimension.
Poesia. O que é poesia?
What is the poetry dimension in Ghana?
I don't understand the question well, but if you want to know.
Porque quando eu penso em poesia, eu penso
things about writing. Yeah. He wants to know como eles fazem, né? Como eles fazem, escrevem,
okay.
Eles também.
Oh, okay.
He wants to know how they create the book.
Very good question.
Agora foi.
That is why I said everything that we do is a living tradition, right? So in this book, I said what I did.
Essa é uma tradição viva.
I was looking at intersections between lived experience.
A percepção, né?
So
experiência.
That poetry that they create is lived, is embodied.
O poeta cria, né?
They see something.
Ver alguma.
Nature can inform them. Maybe your gray beard can inform life is lived experience. It's not abstract poetry. They don't do abstract. They don't say no. If they want to write about the moon, they look, and there are songs. What I did today, I didn't bring a song or a drum poet or anything. I just talk something about books, right? If I bring a song and I pull out the text, you will see what it's about, right? Some of them are about human, experiences of the universe. It's a lot. See the themes. I have to just bring one or two, and then we analyze, and then I will explain to you the approach.
Uma ou duas para analisar, e aí poder explicar
the approach to the poetry, everything, and then you will see. But everything is lived experience. That's why I said.
Mas tudo é experiência, né? Baseado na experiência também.
See, that's why I said intersections between lived experience and music and social values. And here I said historical narrative.
Narrativas históricas com análise.
And analysis of text. Historical.
Das performances, né, dos cantores.
Sometimes, like you see the festival, okay, the big, you know,
festival, que é enorme.
the funeral. Sometimes what you see, they are performing history.
Então, né, uma performance da história.
Because the history too is not written down. Where is the history? It's not written down. It's a situation like this, the funeral. Situation like this. It's a funeral. And you see them, they carry different regalia, different clothing. The clothing that we wear and everything. And then the big procession is start performing history. So that poetry will deal with that history. If it's history, I can tell you, this is the history that this poetry is talking about. You see? So, and archive, where is the museum? This morning we went to the museum. If you go to Africa, we don't have museum. Because for us, everything is practical. Everything is related to life. So this thing, when you saw it like this, when you saw them carrying different regalia, the umbrella, that is the archive. That is when we bring the archive. So for us, the archive is a living archive. When we finish, we put it in a room. We don't go open and just. We don't do that. But when the event comes up, we bring it. Then you see the archive in motion, right? So the poetry is a lot. I just have to bring one or two, and then we can unpack. We can unpack poetry. I can bring drum poetry. Can you imagine? It's not only talking drum, but we have poetry on drum. Poetry. I transcribe, and then we can talk about it. Gracias. Yeah, go ahead.
I will ask you. Uma curiosidade about Gana, porque nós não sabemos muito, né? Você falasse um pouco de que tinha fundou o Instituto de Etnomusicologia.
He wants to know if the founder of the Institute of Ethnomusicology. He's the founder of the Institute of Ethnomusicology.
Oh, okay.
In Ghana.
In Ghana, okay.
He wants to know more about Ghana.
Okay, so we don't have the Institute of Ethnomusicology. He was the first African director of the Institute of African Studies.
Yeah,
African Studies. And then he created a lot of original curriculum for the institute. And then from there he created the School of Music and Drama. And that music, the School of Music and Drama later on they added dance, because you see he also thinking that music is not just music, there's drama, theater, and everything together. So then it's called the School of Performing Arts. So he created that. I went to school. I went to the School of Performing Arts. Yeah, I went there. I went to the School of Performing Arts.